Hi all, Wise Wolf here, and welcome back to another episode of New Harbour Wildlife Reserve. 3 weeks ago, in my video titled Greeting New Harbour's Giggling New Residents, them being the striped hyena of course, we rescued 2 animal species from Kingpins' Orchid City Zoo after tragedy struck in the form of Hurricane Frontier. Them being the African penguin and the black and white ruffed lemurs. In today's episode, the African penguins have passed quarantine and passed all the necessary vet checks, and they're ready for their new home. They're just missing their new home is all, and so that is what we are building today. Next week, we will be building for the black and white ruffed lemurs, Queen, Beethoven, and Dion. And will be the last episode for 2024, as I take a 2-week break before hopefully returning in 2025. But don't worry, I do have something planned just before Christmas. Stay tuned to see what that is. But with that introduction out of the way, let me start talking to you about the African penguins. The African penguin, or scientifically known as Spheniscus demersus, also known as the jackass penguin due to its distinctive braying call, is a species of penguin found along the southern coast of Africa. They are the most unique penguin, I must say, because they live in warmer climates, primarily in the waters of the coasts of South Africa and Namibia. They are found on the rocky shorelines of islands and coastal regions in South Africa and Namibia, where they nest in burrows or under shrubs to protect themselves from the sun's heat. I tried to mimic the rocky shorelines these penguins are found in by including a lot of rock barriers, that of which that I have majorly cut from the video because they were just very boring and had the video being a runtime of almost 25 minutes. And I've noticed that not many people like to stick around for that long. So I mainly cut a lot of the rock building out. But it mimics the rocky shorelines in which they're found. Popular nesting sites include the Robben Island, Dasson Island, and Boulders Beach. Adult African penguins are medium-sized, typically standing at about 60 centimeters tall and weighing between 5 to 8 kilograms. Males are generally slightly larger than females, as seen in most species of animal located in the animal kingdom. I don't know why I worded it that way, but we're gonna roll with it. Deal with it if you don't like that. These penguins, like most, are piscivores and feed primarily on fish like anchovies, sardines, and other small marine creatures. Hence why the fish feeder enrichment item is used in the bottom of the pool that you see on screen just then. Often hunting in the waters just off the coast, they are skilled divers and can dive to depths of over 130 meters. For obvious reasons, their pool is not 130 meters, because that would just be too big of a pool for a zoo to even have in real life. So we were not going to include a 130 meter deep pool in this enclosure. When it comes time to reproduce, African penguins will typically lay about 2 eggs, and both parents will take turns incubating the eggs for about 40 days. The chicks are born with fluffy down feathers and are fed regurgitated fish by both parents. They are typically independent by the age of 3 to 4 months. But just because they're independent doesn't mean they will leave the colony, and generally will stay there for life. The African penguin, however, is sadly classified as endangered by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, hence why it made it to New Harbour in the first place. After all, New Harbour is a reserve for conservation. Populations have drastically declined due to various threats, including overfishing, habitat destruction, oil spills, and human disturbance. Conservation efforts focus on protecting breeding colonies, regulating fishing practices, and creating safe environments for the penguins. Enough about that sad topic though. Let's talk about their adaptations and how they're able to live in a warmer climate such as Africa. Although they live in said warmer climate, compared to the Antarctic relatives such as king penguin or emperor penguin, the African penguins have adapted to the heat by taking shelter during the hottest parts of the day and using the cool sea water to regulate their body temperature. They also have a layer of feathers that provides insulation and a special gland near their eyes to expel excess salt from the seawater. Another adaptation that they have to help live in the warmer environments compared to their cold water cousins, African penguins have a special adaptation to deal with the heat. This is in the form of a special network of blood vessels in their legs that helps regulate their body temperature. Additionally, they are known to pant like dogs and flap their wings to cool off. Now, while we'll only have 12 African penguins on display, with 3 chicks being off display while they recover from their transit, African penguins are generally highly social birds, forming large colonies that generally have hundreds, sometimes even breaking the 1,000 mark for the number of birds in the colony. They communicate with each other using a variety of vocalizations, much like every animal that has been in New Harbour so far. This includes their famous braying call that sounds like a donkey, hence their famous nickname, the Jackass Penguin. These penguins are beloved species in their native region and are the subject of many a conversation to ensure their survival in the face of ongoing threats. African penguins have a distinctive black band or vest of feathers across their chest, which is unique to each individual, much like human fingerprints. This helps them be recognizable from another in their crowded colonies. Like all penguins, African penguins are counter-shaded for camouflage. Their black backs blend in with the ocean depths when viewed from above, and their white bellies blend in with the lighter surface of the water when viewed from below. This coloration is often why us Australians call penguins the formal chickens. If it wasn't obvious why we call them the formal chickens, it's because they're birds, they look like chickens, and their feathers make it look like they're wearing a tuxedo. Very adorable like. I'm going to take the next few minutes or so to talk about the main threats to their survival and expand on each of them. Overfishing is one of the biggest threats to the African penguins, because it depletes the food sources they depend on. The decline in available fish, particularly sardines and anchovies, which I do not understand why humans eat. They are terrible fish, anchovies are disgusting, and sardines smell really bad. But I understand why animals love them. Anyway, off topic, sorry. But it forces the penguins to travel further out to find food, which puts the additional strain on their energy reserves and puts them at larger risks of being culled by their predators. African penguins are vulnerable to oil spills from the oil rigs in the area, which can contaminate their feathers, making it difficult for them to stay warm or waterproof. Oiled penguins often face difficulty in surviving, and cleaning the penguins can be a labor-intensive and stressful process. Much like every animal on this earth, climate change is one of the biggest threats. Changes in the sea temperatures and weather patterns have the potential to disrupt the penguins' food supply and nesting sites. Warmer waters can lead to shifts in fish distribution, and changes in rainfall patterns can affect the availability of nesting materials or cause flooding in colonies. Habitat destruction, coastal development, pollution, and human activities around penguin colonies also pose a serious threat. Disturbances from humans, such as increased boat traffic, fishing, and tourism, can disrupt penguin breeding and lead to chick abandonment. African penguins also face threats from natural predators, such as seals, sharks, and large seabirds from the sea, such as seagulls, as well as from land-based predators such as domesticated dogs and cats that may encroach on their nesting areas. I'll now take a moment to explain some of the different conservation efforts that are in place to help protect the penguins. Protected areas. Several African penguin colonies are located within protected areas such as Boulders Beach near Cape Town, where visitors can view the penguins in their natural habitat without disturbing them. Conservation measures are in place to limit human interference and to monitor the penguin population. Next up is research and monitoring. Various organisations, including the South African National Parks and the Penguin Foundation, conduct regular research and monitoring of African penguin populations. This includes tracking penguin movements, breeding success, and monitoring food supply. Ecotourism has been used to help fund conservation efforts, with people visiting penguin colonies to raise awareness about the species and contribute to local conservation projects. Efforts have also been made to regulate local fisheries, with the hope of ensuring that penguins have enough access to the natural food source. Some fishing zones have been designated as a no-fish zone to help protect penguin populations. On top of all this, captive breeding programs are working to help maintain a stable population of African penguins through captive breeding and eventual reintroduction into the wild, though this is considered as the last resort. I don't know if you noticed, but I had to duck into one of my other zoos, the Ocean Park Zoo, which is almost complete, but I've just been uninspired for it. I needed to grab a blueprint for an item I thought I blueprinted, but I didn't, that being the sprinkler cage. I'm almost finished up here, needing to put only a few minor details and the roof into this hard shelter. I don't know what else to say, so I'll see you at 16 minutes and 18 seconds into the video for my concluding remarks. Until then, enjoy the final serenic music of Planet Zoo, and enjoy the shelter getting a roof. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. It will really help the channel out with YouTube's algorithms, which haven't been very kind to me in recent weeks. But without further ado, I present to you Kingpin's penguins, the African penguin. Kingpin, if you are watching this, I hope you're proud of your penguin's new home, and I hope that they will be happy and eternally grateful for all you did. Now this area, I thought, needed a little bit of an uplift. It's old, dull, and very boring. So before I go, let me present to you my new staff hub. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next week with the black and white ruffed lemurs. And until then, I leave you with cinematics. Peace out.